Let's look at you axing NHS England. What's going to happen to those 9,500 staff?
I'm glad you raised this, because I think this is absolutely the right thing to do. But I am mindful of the fact that there are lots of people whose jobs will be impacted, and there's no sugarcoating that. It's not their fault they're working in a bureaucracy that's grown beyond a reasonable size, and a system that is full of waste and duplication and inefficiency. We're tackling all of those issues, and in terms of job losses, we will obviously treat people fairly, with respect, but there will be job losses in order to achieve hundreds of millions of pounds worth of savings.
How many jobs need to go?
Services. Well,
we've got 40,000 NHS managers. We've got 40,000 NHS managers who are all earning more than the average nursing salary. How many of those 40,000 have to go? How many of these NHS England staff, 9,500, have to go? Because the audience would like to hear numbers on this. I asked Pat McFadden last week, how many civil servants are you getting rid of? Couldn't give me a figure. It therefore it lacks credibility to say that you're cutting down when you won't give us figures.
So the combined size of my department and NHS England is about 19,000 people. That's double what the equivalent was in 2010, when Labour was delivering the shortest waiting times and the highest patient satisfaction in history. We want to halve those numbers. So that is a significant reduction. There are people's jobs and livelihoods affected. I am sorry about that, because I know what that fear and anxiety that it creates. But we've got to achieve those savings that we can put into frontline NHS services, and also deal with the layer and layer and layer of bureaucracy that we see in the NHS, which isn't the fault of the people who are doing the jobs they've been asked to do, but is the fault of my predecessors, and we're fixing that and sorting it out.
Although only this month there's a role advertised in the southwest of England for an NHS diversity, equity and inclusion manager on, wait for it, 122 grand. Why are they still advertising for these roles? Can the NHS, with a waiting list still at 6.3 million, afford to be spending 122 grand on a DEI role? What's going on?
Yeah, so there's two things I'd say. One is Jim Mackey and I are slamming the brakes on overspending in the NHS and making sure that we are reducing the numbers.
So you're going to pull that advert,
not delivering frontline services. But secondly, just to say, on diversity, equality and inclusion roles, some of them have really lost their way. I mean, I saw a report just this weekend suggesting that we should change the name of midwives to I can't even remember the name of the role that was being proposed. It was so absurd.
Midpeople.
I find that really frustrating, to be honest, because we've got black women 3 or 4 times more likely to die in childbirth.
OK, but that's great.
Black men twice as likely to die of prostate cancer.
OK, but Mr. Streeting, why are these roles still being...
to deal with, and that's
why are they still being advertised? Why are they still being advertised? If you're cutting down on them, why are they still on websites?
Yep, well, I think it is fair to say it has taken a little while for some people in the NHS to get the message. I think the announcements in recent days will have sent a very strong and clear message.
OK.
But I want to make sure that every penny of taxpayers' money is being well spent. But I would say on this issue of diversity, equality and inclusion, some of that work is really important and valuable in terms of, poorer people more likely to die than richer people, men dying earlier than women, and real differences of the experience of black women in childbirth than white women, for example, in terms of black women being far more likely to die. I think everyone would agree those are issues we should tackle, and that's where a focus on equalities can make a real difference. But what we see too much of, and you guys have covered this quite extensively, are some well-meaning but totally misguided approaches, and that's what we'll be putting a stop to.